right. Welcome back, everybody. We're excited to be able to do this again. Thank you to all those that have been checking us out and tuned in to previous episodes. We're honored because there's so many other shows out there, podcasts that you could listen to, but you've chosen to spend some time with us, and we don't take that for granted. We don't take it lightly. So we thank you for that, and we just want to welcome you once again. And I'm excited to have my boy Joey back on. I appreciate the enthusiasm that you showed and that you expressed to want to come back on, man. We got a lot of good feedback from your previous episode. I don't know how it was on your end.
Yeah, I had a lot of people watch it. How long ago was that? Like a year ago? Year and a half?
Maybe. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Yeah.
But had a lot of people watch it. My parents watched it. Wife watched it. A lot of good feedback. A lot of people didn't realize how much we've moved and kind of where we've got, like our travels and what we've gone through to get to this point.
Yeah.
You know, it was funny though. Katie had mentioned how hard it was for her to watch that because of some of the things we talked about. You know, she realized what we went through, right, in our relationship, and what it took to get to where we got. Right. But the hard times that we went through, she's like, it just kind of hit different hearing it come.
Yeah.
From me. She's like, I knew those things obviously, but hearing you like say it and express it, and so that was kind of hard.
Was she prepared for you to open up about those things? Did she think that we would go there, or did she have a clue of
No, I don't think she was prepared as much as she thought she would be. She thought it was more just talking about kind of my career. Yeah. But when it got to the hard conversations, she was taken back a little bit to actually hear it come from me. Yeah. It made it more, I guess, realistic for her, mm-hmm. right, to really hear how important, how my priorities were just arranged at that time in my life. Yeah. And obviously it's not going to be good for your wife to hear that, she was second in my life compared to my career. So yeah, no, I appreciated how transparent you were, bro, and I think that's what really the people really connect with. That authenticity, that realness, and you just you say it all the time. You're an open book. I know you just joke around like that, but on that occasion, and from what I know from you, you always have been that way, and I think that's the reason that you and I have connected the way we have. How the saying goes, real recognizes real. So. And I've always appreciated that about you, and we saw that on full display on that occasion, man. And I think that's invaluable. Yeah. What you gave back, what you poured out, and I was very appreciative of that. I know you're well connected with lots of folks, and you probably could have had other opportunities to go on with anybody else and share your story like that. And I'm very grateful that you chose to be here with us. Yeah, man, I had my concerns the next time I saw Katie, how she was gonna, what she was gonna think about me. She was gonna be upset. No, she wasn't upset with you at all, man. Me, I was the dumb one making bad decisions. But it is, man, being authentic, right? Authenticity. It's hard to find these days, and yeah. People I don't know what it is, right? People don't like to open up. People don't like to be real. Everybody's reserved and living in their own little world. And I think that's a real big issue we have, right? Mm-hmm. It's like just hanging out with friends. You got to be real. You got to be open. You're raising each other's kids. Yeah. It's just like I said, authenticity. Yeah. Being a real authentic person, caring about the people around you. Not just showing up, be like, hey, I'm here to see you. It's like caring about seeing someone, right? Caring about people. Yeah. I think that really makes when you're genuine about it, when you're real about it, people can tell when you're being fake and phony. And
yep, they see right through it.
Yeah, man. It's cool because to be able to share a story, that's kind of, I've talked to you about that a lot, right? Just my whole point now is to just kind of maybe inspire people or help somebody who's kind of stuck in how you think about life, your priorities. You think you're the man of the family. All you got to do is provide, and there's a lot more that goes into it than just providing. Yeah, and it's taken a lot. Even how I've grown since the last time we've done this, man. It's been just another year, right? Year of growth for us and for me as a person, and really realizing how to love myself, because I could love everybody else around me, but if I'm not loving myself, right, I'm not really being my true self. Yeah. And that's been the biggest thing to learn through this whole journey. Yeah.
Yeah. So the last time you came on and I got ready to post the episode, my thing is trying to come up with the appropriate title for the episode, and a little caption on there, and so I titled it Dinner Time, because of your background, and also the way we connected was through the F3 group, the fitness group, and they appropriately named you TV Dinner. So yeah, we came up with the title Dinner Time, and I for the caption I put on there that you were serving us up a deconstructed dish of everywhere that life has taken you, and you certainly did that.
Yeah, man.
You lived up to that, and you took us on quite the ride. You served us up a good helping of where life has taken you, and here we are again, man. Second helpings, second helpings, man. So I'm glad that you're here, man, and I appreciate your encouragement, and seeing your enthusiasm motivates me to do this as well. So, but yeah, man, you shared a lot about your background and where all life has taken you, the journey that you've been on, man. And there was lots of ups and there were definitely lots of downs as well. And so saying all that, get us up to speed, from the last time we talked, man. What's been going on?
There's been a lot going on.
Yeah, we thought we were about to lose you too, like Doug was saying earlier.
This past year and a half, it's been a lot of positive, right? When we last time we first did this, I was 6 months into F3, fully bought into all that and changing my life and my lifestyle. And since then, I've just kind of learned and grown since then. And it's been a nonstop, right? I finally found how to fulfill myself. I always felt like I kind of had like an empty hole, like I was chasing something, right? Chasing the career, chasing this, chasing money, and realizing again, right, what my priorities are.
Yeah.
And this past year, I really was able to focus on what I need to do. And again, like I said, loving myself and really investing into me to be the best version of myself. Because I'm not the best version of myself, I'm not gonna be able to lead people properly.
Right.
How do I lead my family the right way if I'm not doing the right things that I say, right? It's just like telling your kid go work out when you're sitting on the couch eating a bag of Doritos. Your kid ain't gonna listen to you go work out, right? You gotta be that example. So waking up in the morning, going and working out, because that's the only time I can, or going late at night and taking the boy with me when I can so he can see that his dad's. I wanted to see how strong I am. I wanted to see the work I've put in. When you take your son to the gym and you're squatting 405 pounds and the dude's just sitting back there oh, damn.
Yeah.
My dad is strong. I want to be able to go to school and be like, my dad will kick your dad's ass. Because he puts in the work. It's not nothing. There's no ego behind it. I just want him to see how hard I'm working so it rubs off on them. Right. And again, it's that growth within me this past year. I've kind of pulled back from all the side hustles and we talked about this, chasing money, and I thought money was the freedom I needed, right?
Yeah.
But realistically, what I needed is just to show up for my family.
Yeah.
And put them first. And since I've done that, putting myself first, loving myself, putting them on the pedestal, it's like life has been amazing. Dude, this past year it's been a new year for Katie and I. Our relationship is stronger than it's ever been. We're like two little lovebirds all over each other all the time. The kids are always making fun of us. And it's good for them to see that too. I got 4 kids, man. I want to see them I worship their mom. I love their mom. She's the queen. Yep. She's very important to the family. And, she may just be a stay-at-home mom, but it's a big job.
For sure.
It is, man. Taking care of the kids and, being able to show up for her and, go work out in the morning, come home, help the kids get ready for school, help the baby and, maybe let her sleep in, drop the kids off, come back, go to work. She's got a long day with them and just showing up, helping do the dishes, helping put the kids to bed, helping feed breakfast. In the past, I would just sit back and be like, hey, you got to do it, right?
Yeah.
I got to go to work today. I'm the provider. Now it's like, no, I got to help out anywhere I can.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we were talking about last night. It's like, I feel busier now than I've ever felt, but I feel more fulfilled. Yeah. I'm not stressed. I'm not working, 12, 13-hour day and then trying to do a side hustle and build a business here, build a business there. It's like, all right, I've been working with my family. I'm investing the time with them. And yeah, it may be crazy and hectic, but I love it.
Yeah.
This night, I couldn't wait to get home, right? I couldn't wait to get home and walk in the house and see crew run up yelling, dad, it's just, so that's been one of the biggest things that's happened over the past year.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of that is rooted in me improving myself, me focusing on my fitness has been the biggest thing, life-changing.
Yeah.
Me getting right with, how I work out, what I eat, it just makes me feel better. It holds me accountable. Working out, I get all my aggression out, right? So dude, that's been the biggest thing. You know, like, yeah, I was F3. Now I've really gotten to a groove of like, all right, I can't wake up at 4 o'clock every day, 6 days a week, and go work a 12 or 13-hour shift and hit the gym at the end of the day. So I found that balance of how it works for my family, and it's not perfect, right? Like I keep comparing myself to all these people online. Like I have to be perfect in my macros, be perfect and lift 5-6 days a week, be perfect and do 5-6 days of cardio, and it's just not realistic. You know, it's really not. You got to find what works for you, and finding what works for me in that aspect, then, you know, I get that discipline down. That leads into the family discipline of getting our routine down, our food, our exercise, and making sure the family's doing right and showing up for them. And then that leads over into work and being more fulfilled at work, because now I'm not chasing something. So I'm investing all my time and effort into what I'm trying to be the best version of myself where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And that's, again, family, fitness, faith, and work, right? Showing up to the family I work for, making sure that I'm truly focused on them. And I've had a great year, great past year, 2 years with them as well.
Yeah.
And, I get to travel the world and do all these crazy things and do some really fun parties and use the best ingredients around. And, any chef would kill to be in the position. I truly have a unique job.
Yeah.
And I think for a long time I was taking that for granted, right? I was trying to run away from being a chef because I think I saw the damage that it did of investing my life into my career.
Yeah.
I just had the wrong mindset about it.
Yeah.
And again, appreciating where I'm at, not chasing, settling down, slowing down, and just really enjoying the fruits of my labor. We spent 12, 13 years grinding, moving around like crazy. So it's been nice to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's been the biggest focus for us. It's enjoying each other, enjoying the kids, trying to get vacations in with them, being real intentional with my time with the kids, and stop focusing on the outside noise, which is crazy because I stopped doing that. I stopped chasing things. I've been a better person, showing up, being a go-giver, doing the right things that I need to do. And I think this past year I've had more opportunities come to me than ever, which is crazy to say because I always got things coming my way. And now it's just like things keep falling in my lap.
Yeah.
And I've really leaned into my faith of like, all right, where do you want me to go? Like, how can I have the biggest impact? Is that me starting a restaurant group? Is that me, helping chefs online? Is that me just inspiring dads online, starting a little group, where's that direction? I've kind of been trying to figure that out a lot.
Yeah.
But not forcing it, trying to listen to see where I'm being guided down the road. And I think it is really for me, what everything is leading to is doing something here in the community of Richmond. Maybe and I really think that is starting a little restaurant.
Yeah. And
through that, we can impact the community a lot, man, offering jobs, community service, whatever that may be, giving back to the community and just being able to offer, that local family, right?
Yeah.
Take care of families.
Yeah, I remember one of the opportunities that fell on your lap. We thought it was going to take you away to Colorado. You're already putting up your SUV for sale, and I was like, oh man, we're going to lose TV.
Yeah, we got a little crazy about that, man. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, because you have relatives out there too.
Yeah, my little brother lives out in Crescent Butte.
Yeah,
and it's always been my dream to go out there and live in the mountains, have a restaurant, and one of the small Italian restaurants up there. Been there for like 25 years. I got to know the owner, and he was interested in selling it. He was going to sell or finance it to me, and we had a private money partner that was going to pay the down payment. We were going to move back to Colorado. But at the end of the day, Katie and I realized that, like, is it really the best? Yeah, we're go back to a minimalistic life, and we probably would have a little bit more time with the kids, and they can come to the restaurant. But I felt like we were taking away a lot of opportunities for them. Mm-hmm. And plus, I would take a huge pay cut. Katie would have to go back to work, and I was taking over a really old restaurant.
Yeah.
When I really sat down and thought about it, it was exciting at first. Right, it's like, man, that's always been the dream, right? Let's go to Crescent Butte, open a restaurant, crush it. Oh, cool, I can go up there and take over a restaurant. But man, that restaurant was just old. It'd have been a lot of problems. Yeah. It just wasn't right. We're not the right time. You got 4 kids now down here. The opportunities in Texas. Yeah, we just realized that raising a family here in Richmond was better suited for us. Yeah, it was exciting, but because realizing to get to the point where I want to get one day, I can't be working for people the rest of my life. Can't be a W-2 employee until I'm going to work until I'm 60, 65. Yeah. Right? Like, I know I have to build something to leave a legacy behind, or, whatever that is. Right? I'm 36 years old. I know I got a lot of time still kind of figure that out, but I know we need something. I need to build something. And whether that's a side business, whether that's whatever that may be, I don't know right now.
Yeah.
But I'm really feeling like it's pulling me towards developing a group here in Richmond. And that doesn't necessarily mean I have to be the one running it, right? You know, I can come in, put chefs in, and kind of be that owner operator.
Yeah.
You know, open up coffee shop, right? Katie can help run it, just kind of small little family thing, and slowly use that, leverage that to do another one, and get that one up and going, then do another one, and, you know, who knows where it can go from there. And I think now's really the time while we're young and we got the time and energy, and so we'll see, man.
Yeah. I brought that example up of that opportunity that fell on your lap because it's interesting to see how your thought process has changed. You know, I'm sure when listeners go back and see your previous episode and how you were bouncing around all over the country, you know, very impulsive at times.
Yeah.
And, you know, how your thought process has changed, you know, you're carefully thinking things through, you know, before you pump the brakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, you took your time, like, you know, going through that, making that decision. And that alone shows where you know, how far you've come.
Oh yeah. In the past, I probably would have jumped all over that, man. It would have been all
and most people would. But then, like how you said, when you break it down and you go through that thought process, you know, with Katie and how she would, you know, end up having to take a job, you know, and both, you know, you would be a dual income household, and you pretty much would find yourself back in the same place.
100%.
You know, where you're not there for your children the way you desire to be.
Yeah,
you know, so
and just seeing that, and like you said, realizing that, and, you know, putting the family first and realizing what was best for them and not what's best for me and my career. And, you know, it's not always about providing or chasing my dreams or doing this and doing that. You know, at the times it's like, all right, that's where I really feel it's at. It's their turn, right? It's my time to focus on me and be the best version and show up for them the right way and give them the best opportunities to succeed. You know? So I owe that to Katie, I owe that to the kids, and I'm just trying to do now whatever I can. Right? Again, that's the whole point of like even starting a business. It's not selfishly, yes, obviously I would love to have my own business, but I truly see that for the future of my family. Being able to take care of us, have our own thing.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. You know, maybe the first 2 or 3 might fail. But learning from mistakes and growing and getting to the point where we have something that is ours. That's how I think I'm going to be able to set the future up.
Yeah, but you know, I appreciate the patience you're showing, you know, to get to that place.
It's taken a long time, man. To have patience and to sit back and, you know, it takes a lot. It's a lot of hard lessons to get to that point.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of impulsive things, a lot of things have happened. You know, it's a lot of growth, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain to really realize those things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and you know, seeing how this time you thought about the kids and uprooting them and the effects that it would have on them by taking them away from everything that they've known so far. Because you guys have been here in the Richmond area for how long? How long has it been already?
Man, we moved here in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it 2019? Right before COVID hit.
Yeah.
So 5 years. Coming up 6 years.
Yeah.
Almost. We've been here a while.
Yeah, so to have to uproot, you know, everything that the kids know and have to bring them along.
Especially with 4 kids.
Yeah, with 4.
We were going to move from a 3,000 square foot home to a 800 square foot apartment. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, Katie was kind of on board with it too, you know, at first. Like, she's like, because I travel a lot, right? I'm away from the kids a lot. I do work a lot. I am away from the kids a lot. And the one thing about that, you know, that's not going to change if I go own a restaurant. You know, I'm going to work just as much. But if it's mine, you know, I can involve my family. Katie can be involved, right?
That's true.
The kids can be involved. Jai's 13. Jai can bus tables. You know, the kids can come in and sit in the corner booth and hang out with dad or be in the kitchen and whatnot. And, you know, go on my days off and kind of do what I need to do and bring the kids in, show them around, teach them. Like, that's why I have a work. I think my dad did that with us growing up. You know, we talked about that last time.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't feel like I've been able to give my kids that opportunity yet of really showing them what it takes to make money, earn money. Yeah, you know, they get little jobs here and there and get an allowance. And Jai does his trash can business. But like being able to bring your kid to your business and be like, this is ours. And this is why we work the way we work. This is why we take care of the things we take care of and how we do the things we do.
Yeah.
Now, again, that's why I am who I am, because my dad did that for us, taught us that. And that's something I really want to be able to do with my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, share with the listeners, like, the steps that you feel like you're taking to get to that place. Do you feel it's far off, or do you feel like the steps that you're taking, you know, like it's
I feel like I'm ready more than ever. You know, like I said, is it going to happen now? I don't know. You know, maybe a year, 2, 3, 5 years from now, who knows? I'm sitting back and waiting. But the steps that I've taken to get to this point, I'm ready now.
Yeah.
You know, if I would have opened up a business or a restaurant a year and a half ago, would I have been? I don't think I was as ready.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit, but no, not where I'm at today. And
Yeah.
I'm ready because my wife knows she's a priority. My kids know they're a priority. I spent the time in with them. I showed them, you know, hey, doesn't matter what I do now. You guys are coming first. That's been a big one, right? Getting myself right, physically, mentally, emotionally, to handle that stress. You know, that's been a big thing, right? When you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you go out for a 3-mile ruck and you go hit another 45-minute workout with a 100-pound sandbag, like, that builds mental toughness, man.
Yeah.
Like, and then you've got to go show up to work. You got to show up for your family still. You know, even go to the gym maybe at nighttime. Like, that's just building that foundation to be able to take that, right? Like, to be able to. I mean, it's a gruel. It's grueling. It's hard. It's not easy waking up day in and day out doing those things, but that builds the mental fortitude it takes, right? Because business isn't easy. The stresses of that, you know, coming along, being responsible for people's lives.
Yeah.
Right. You just learn a lot about yourself. And learn that there's no quit. And that's what I think could benefit a lot of people, right? Especially a lot of guys our age. You know, they get stuck in their day-to-day lives and, you know, they kind of feel like they lose their purpose. And really all you got to do, man, is just start working out. Go for a walk. Then start showing up and lifting weights. And to see how it really changes who you are. You start showing up for yourself, you're going to start showing up for the people around you. And it changes your life.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've heard a lot about your progression in your career and professionally, you know, so, tell more about that, your growth physically, you know, because I know, you're, like you said, you're an open book and a lot that involves you, like, you're not afraid to kind of put yourself out there, and you've shared like before pictures, you know, of what you were looking like before and now. And, you know, that takes a lot of, you know, confidence, and just being vulnerable.
Exactly, man. Being vulnerable. It's putting it out there to the world to, like, show people, like, hey, this is real.
Yeah.
Like, this is where, and to the mindset that I had, like, dude, it's crazy because back then I knew I was a 300-pound man, 315 pounds, but I never really thought I was that big. Like, I played football. I knew I was a big guy. I was strong.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. You know, I'm a big guy. That's who I am. Now I look back on those pictures. I'm like, holy shit. I was huge.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, you were a big guy. Like, you were really big. I was like, why didn't you ever tell me? She's like, this is how you were. And nobody ever really said anything because that's just how Joey was. And, you know, to get down to where I'm at now, you know, posting pictures of me in my underwear, like, I want people to be inspired through my suffering, right? Through my vulnerability. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me, a lot of people that I know, and, you know, other dads that, you know, work, and guys that feel like they don't have the time or they can't do it. It's like, you can do it. I was that guy, like, oh, dude, I work so much. I can't do it. I can never do this. I can't show up that way. You just got to find the way to do it.
Yeah.
And when you know, now more than ever, I have more body dysphoria or whatever that is. Like, I look in the mirror, I still see the same guy, right? It's hard for me to see. It's really hard for me to see that, like, I've lost a lot. You know, I've gone from almost 40% body fat down to 20, you know, I'm like 20% body fat right now.
Yeah.
I'm 255 pounds. Like, I am as strong as, or maybe even stronger than when I was playing college football.
Yeah.
I can get out there and run 2, 3, 4 miles, ruck, and do all these things. I'm healthy and it feels great. And, you know, but it's still, I look in the mirror and I'm like, am I worthy of this? Like, I'm still that guy. I feel like I'm still that guy. I struggle with that a lot. You know, Katie, I always bring up to Katie, like, she's always like, you're changing, you're a better person. But sometimes I don't feel like I am. You know, it's like, it's almost like imposter syndrome. Like, I'm faking it till I make it kind of thing. And it's weird how it like just messes with my mind. Like, do I deserve this? Right? For the shit that I've done in my past, or how I used to be. And, you know, Katie and I got into a little argument this past like 2 weekends ago, Saturday night before Easter. Got in a little argument, and even she's like, dude, the old Joey came out. And I didn't like hearing that. Like,
oh, wow.
I was just like, damn, all right. So having her to really like fortify and put into me that like confidence, I guess, has been great, because I know I'm an open book. I know I put out there into the world that like I'm this big confident dude, and I am at a sense, but still sometimes that's something I've been struggling with, is like, that thought, like, do you deserve this kind of thing?
Yeah. So there's a sense of guilt for.
Maybe guilt. It's just, I don't know, man. They call it like, so I'm in this men's group. They call it almost like imposter syndrome. Like, you're not worthy of this new version of yourself almost because of who you used to be. Sometimes I just fight that, like that old guy coming out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, why you getting up in the morning, or why are you going to do this? Like, she can take care of it. You don't have to go do this today. Like, you don't have to be nice. So yeah, worthy of the love and the praise and the attention. It gets weird. And this has only happened since, one of the guys brought up, this has only happened to me since I've made this change, right? These are things I never really battled with in the past.
Yeah.
And I guess, one of the guys was describing it as, that's just kind of like you burying the old you. And that's where the real change comes in, and you realize and look back on like how you used to be and who you used to be. And you're noticing that difference, I guess, when like the true growth happens. Yeah,
and it's interesting how you say that, because the adversary of our souls, that's the kind of the tactics that he uses to keep us down and keep us oppressed. You know what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
And so it's like, it's interesting to hear how you describe your mind playing tricks on you, and making you feel like you're not deserving of that. It sounds typical of what the adversary does, towards us, to try to keep us down. Like you said, not worthy of the growth and the improvements that we've made, and so, but I feel like you said, like God honors all the effort that we make, and he's the source of a lot of that inspiration and the strength that we find to be able to do those things, and so it doesn't surprise me that you say, you still have to manage with that. I think, if we're being honest, like you said, most men would, or are dealing with that, but it's just not being spoken about often enough. The struggles that we deal with anytime we have those small successes that we experience in life. But it's important to be able to recognize that we're not who we used to be.
It's okay to pat yourself on the back every now and then, and if you're doing it the right way, not being egotistical.
Exactly.
Realize the wins and where you're going and what you're doing and how you're doing it,
Yeah,
it's a battle for sure.
Yeah, and just recognizing that, and giving honor where honor is due, and none of this would be possible without God, and because I can't help but to think of my, I just had we received news that our neighbor, passed away, and he was a young guy.
Oh, really? Wow.
He was just 2 months younger than me.
Wow.
He was supposed to be celebrating a birthday in September, and he was battling cancer, and he gave it a good fight, but man, he just succumbed to that illness, man, and it could happen to any of us, man. None of us are immune to that, or just stepping out and God forbid, but being involved in an accident, a serious accident, and that's all the time we had. That was it. Yep. And our time is cut short. And recognizing that, just knowing that, I like to tell people, like, it's important that we acknowledge all that we've been spared from. If we had that perspective in life, just acknowledging, like, waking up every morning and just realizing, what we've been spared from, man, it would give us a new outlook on life and how we hit it, how we approach it, rather than just taking it for granted.
Exactly. Being appreciative of what you have and showing up and earning it and being thankful for it, right? It's easy to take what you have for granted. I did that for a long time.
Yeah.
And always wanting more. And, as I've grown in my faith too, and diving into that more and realizing that you really need to embrace where you're at in life and be happy with where you're at in life. Once you like succumb to that and you realize, all right, cool, like I'm where I need to be. I'm here for a reason, and kind of just sit back and listen, like, all right, show me your path. Be the best version of yourself of where you're at now, and things are going to happen, and this past year has been that, like enjoying doing the right things, being the good person, having the faith and really just having those conversations with God too. It's like, just show me what you want, right? It may not be what I want, but it's like, how do you, and leaning into it and like knowing what's right and what's wrong and the way to listen, what's the right opportunity. And yeah, man, it's because you never know. You never know what's going to happen, right? Like you said, one day you can walk out and get struck by a car. Yeah. And what's going to be what's going to be the impression you left on the world?
Yep.
Right. What are you leaving your family behind with? What is the memory of who was Joey? Who was Josh? Like, what are you leaving behind? And that's scary because I got 4 kids, I want to make sure they're left and taken care of, and Katie's taken care of, and whatever that looks like. And being that old man, I wasn't preparing them. Right? Yeah. I didn't have their best interest in the back of my mind. And that's things we have to worry about, right? This, like you were saying, the old men go through it, and it's just not really talked about. We're taught to kind of keep it in, suppress it, white knuckle through life, suck it up, right? Like it's kind of your battle to deal with. Yeah. And that's not the case. Being in this men's group, this workout group, being in this men's group online that I'm on, called Mad Men Coaching, it's been huge, to have guys who've gone through this journey. A lot of the guys in that group are big guys like I was. And, some guys have lost 100, 125 pounds, 130 pounds. And, so being able to have that community of guys just to talk to, like that's huge for us to be able to open up about these kind of things. Because it's hard to open up to somebody about it. You want you guys to be like, oh, you're just soft. Get over it. Yeah. So that helps, being able to talk through it. Because you suppress it long enough, man, it'll make you do crazy things. Oh yeah. Messes with your mind. Yeah.
It can become very damaging.
Yeah, dude. And having that accountability, like, you and I talk, like, you post today, did you go out there, like, just being able to be like, hey, make sure you're showing up, doing the right things. Yeah. Having a core group. And that's why I'm thankful for that F3 group, man. Even though, I'm not going as much, maybe 2 times a week now. Yeah. I just realized for my schedule, but having those guys, meeting those guys, it makes a difference. Yeah. You see how many guys have changed their life by just going out there every day and working out. It's so silly. People are like, oh, it can't be. Dude, go out there and work out and see what it does. Commit to it for 30, 60, 90 days. Yeah. And see the changes in yourself and see the changes it does for your family. You're not as tired. You start showing up a little bit better. You're not as aggressive. Like, maybe you're catching yourself washing dishes a little bit more, loving on your wife a little bit more. It's these compound wins that stack up over the years. And now it's even rubbed off on Katie. Katie's out there walking and rucking really? And, 3-4 times a week. Yeah, right? That's awesome. Being healthier, paying attention to the vitamins she's taking, the electrolytes in the morning, the collagen, and she's feeling better, right? So I'm better, she's better. What happens now? We show up for our family better as a couple. You know? So it's very contagious.
Yeah, there you go. That's
but again, you got to find your group. It's hard to do it on your own, and that's again why I like putting it out there to the world, because you're never done with that guy that's out there by himself just scrolling. I might come across my picture and be like, "Damn, that dude was big. That's like me. That looks like me." No, because those big guys were like, "Oh, these skinny guys don't know what they're talking about. Like they've never been there." But coming from somebody who's been there, been 300 pounds for 35 years of my life. I mean, obviously not 30, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I've been big my entire life. And I guess I'm still a big guy, but I'm healthy. Yeah. And I'm still working toward, I still got a goal that I want to get down to and whatnot, but yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm very proud of you, man. You've come a long way, and, and you're still plugging away. And we'll post those pictures of you, for people to see, share those on here. Yeah. So they can see the transformation that you've made. It's been a feat that you've accomplished. So I like how you mentioned earlier this concept of yielding and then leaning in. Yielding to the circumstances
you know, whatever you find yourself in, and then recognizing it, and then just leaning in you know, into it, embracing it, you know, not being afraid of the challenges, the obstacles that you face, you know, and just embracing it and making the most out of it. You know, we've talked on previous episodes of the importance of that, and not running away, but just taking a stand and then just going head first into it and seeing what you could make out of it. You know, the circumstances. I think it's important as we're going through life to yield and not just kind of hurry along, you know, and trying to get through whatever we're facing, you know, to recognize, yield, and not be afraid to reach out or ask for help, you know, for guidance, you know, so we don't stumble and trip up over ourselves, you know, and set ourselves back further than where we started.
Yeah, man, it's definitely easy with the day-to-day life to kind of just go, you know, and you don't really stop and pay attention to what's going on around you. You know, yes, we all have busy lives, and it doesn't matter whether you're in a good, you know, the good storm or bad storm of your life, right? We're always just going. And if you don't stop, like I said, it doesn't, if you don't stop in a good zone or a bad zone, you know, and realize where you're at, if you're not happy, right? Like, you're not happy in your life, stop and realize where you're at. Reevaluate where you're at. What can you control to change these situations? And you may not be able to, you know, you may have a sick kid, you may have this, and you kind of have to lean into that. And it's easier said than done, but you have to embrace it the best as you can.
Right.
You can't control situations. You know, if you're in a good situation, it's easy just to continue like, all right, cool, I'm happy, things are great, let's just plow 100% ahead.
Yeah.
You got to take a step back and evaluate where you're going and what you're doing and what your priorities are, because it's easy to go, and, you know, things could just crumble around you, right? If you're not set up properly, if you're not prepared for that, if you're not ready to take on what's ahead, and stopping and really just kind of listening. Right? That's what, keep watching all these guys and listening to all these successful people, you know, who, and I'm talking about success in people who have really are spiritual, you know, godly men who've done really well for themselves because they stopped and they listened, right? Eliminate the noise and try to lean in and, you know, figure out what's going on. Have that conversation with yourself or with God or whatever it may be, and just eliminate some noise and, you know, just think about it. Meditate on it. You know, I do a lot I don't meditate, but in the car, right? I'll turn off the radio. I won't have a phone. I'll just drive in silence and just think about what I have, even as simple as what I got going on today. What do I want to work on? What do I want to be better at? What do I need to focus on? What did I make mistakes of in the last couple of days? Just having that time.
Taking inventory.
Exactly. To really have set plans and know what's going on, instead of just, I got to do this, got to do this, got to do this, got to do this.
Yeah.
And that's really helped. It's helped a lot.
Yeah, because you oftentimes you see people like striving so much and grinding, you know, to get to where they want to go. But a lot of the times they get to a certain place
and it crumbles around them.
Yeah.
Because their foundation, right? The foundation was built in sand. You know what I mean? You got to take that time and build it up the right way.
Yeah.
I've seen them even in a lot of these side hustles that I've kind of dabbled in, real estate and other things. It's like, you see a lot of people have a lot of success right out the gate, but now a lot of those people aren't where they were because they didn't build the right systems, the right foundations. You know, they kind of just went and didn't take the time to really evaluate where they were going or what they wanted.
Yeah.
And, you know, get into trouble or whatever it may be, lose what you built. And
yeah. Or like we were talking earlier, like they achieve that success that they've been striving so hard for, or gain that wealth, but yet they still find themselves miserable, unhappy with where, you know, where they've been or what got them there.
Yeah. Money doesn't always buy happiness, you know?
Yeah.
It's about, taking a step back and realizing what's around you.
Yeah. We were having a conversation last weekend, and King Solomon, he wrote the book of Ecclesiastes, and he talks about the meaning of life. And King Solomon, if you know his background, he was like very wealthy. You know, the Bible, he's described often as the wisest man that ever lived. And so he is breaking down the meaning of life in the book of Ecclesiastes, and he basically comes to the conclusion that, like, nothing that you gain matters. Because you can strive and toil to gain wealth or material things, but at the end of the day, you're gone, and the people that are left behind are the ones that get to enjoy everything you work so hard for.
Yep.
And he's just kind of explaining that concept, and just shedding light on what's important. And he expresses that what's most important is you put your best foot forward, and you take time to enjoy all that you've done and how far you've come. And there's another parallel in the New Testament, where the Apostle Paul, having achieved the things that he had, and then been through all the hardships that he struggled through, being persecuted. He said the famous words like, "I've learned to be content," in whatever condition I find myself, whether it's like in abundance or in the dumps, pretty much. Like he understood
making the best of it.
Yeah, making the best of it. Just learning how to be content no matter what. No matter what life throws at you or what you go through. And I think that's powerful, man. But a lot of times we just kind of, we're just kind of grinding and grinding and grinding, trying to get to where we want to go, and not like really realizing that we forget that
you forget what, it's hard. It's easy to forget why you're doing something.
Yeah.
And again, like you were just saying, you build this whole thing and you get to the top of the mountain, but you're by yourself because you burned the bridges, you lost the people, you did the things you had to do to get to the top of the mountain. Now what? Right?
Yeah.
I'd rather be on that hard journey, figuring it out with somebody, having the people there and showing up the way I need to do, and have it take a little bit more time and doing it the right way.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to happen now, right? There's time to make it happen. Doing it right, taking the time and doing where you're at is huge.
Yeah.
I'm very blessed that I've been able to do that and figure that out now, and not 30 years from now, when my kids are all grown and they resent me because I wasn't there. I didn't show up the right way.
Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate to be able to realize this now and learn from it and not make that mistake, because I was going down that path.
Yeah. So the last time when we were wrapping up, you shared that you also felt like you were beginning a spiritual journey. Mm-hmm. That you felt like God was, laying that on your heart to grow spiritually, so you can also be able to give back to others in that same area mm-hmm. of life. How do you feel like, where are you at this moment?
I feel
in your journey, your spiritual journey.
I feel like I still have more to learn. I feel like there's, I've focused more on myself growing in my faith. I think it's actually kind of perfect today when we went to church, right? The pastor was talking about a passage, and, that teachers will be judged harshly.
Yep.
Right. And, that kind of like made me really think about, it's crazy that you just bring this up, because I'm thinking about that. And, I feel like I still have a lot of ways to grow in that aspect, mm-hmm. but I've also been able to help my family do that.
Yeah.
Getting them to a point, right? Taking the kids to church more. Katie now going to church. Katie didn't grow up going to church, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't really, we've talked about this before. She's not much of a believer, but she's starting to lean into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
She's pushing for us to go. She sees the importance of it for the kids to be there and learn it. And, having this conversation with her when she's going through things, whatever it is, I'll say to her, it's like, God wants you to forgive. Jesus wants you to not feel these ways about things. And we have those conversations more. And so we've grown in that aspect, which has been cool. I'm still not perfect, and I feel I need to get in the Bible more. That's what I need to do. I've actually took one today from church, and my goal is, over the next couple of months of traveling too, is to be able to get into that more. Mm-hmm. That's where I think I've dropped the ball a little bit on that aspect of opening the Bible. I've tried Audible books and this and that. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've definitely been growing, continuing to grow, but am I a person that can go out and teach it yet? No, I don't think so. I can have these conversations, with friends and conversations and things like that, and an avenue down this. But I feel like I got a long way to go.
Yeah.
To get to that point, in the beginning, it's like, all right, yeah, I can do that. I could be that guy. But again, I want to grow it the right way and be where I need to be.
Yeah.
To be that guy. And again, it's just like anything, like working out. It's just learning and growing into it. It's a process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it, at least.
Yeah. No, you hit it right on the nail, right on the head. I was reminded of that scripture you're talking about, how teachers will be judged more harshly. But yeah, a lot of the times we let that hold us back. Or we're afraid to take on that responsibility. But there's something that God puts in our hearts, to want to help lead people in that area of life. And I don't think it's, just seeing the type of man that you are and all the journey that you've been on, man, you have so much to offer, just through experience. It's like we say, that street cred, you have that credibility. You've been there, you've been through some stuff, and these aren't just going to be mere words that you're reading to them, but you've also lived it as well. So there's something about like just having that testimony behind it, that you've lived it, and you're not just, you didn't just go to seminary and study, these words and trying to talk about it, but that you've actually lived it out. I think there's a more impact behind what you share with others, and just hearing the journey that you've been on, with all you've been through. I think you have a lot to offer.
Yeah. And I still think that time is coming. I don't feel like now is that time. I definitely feel like it's coming.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, I don't feel like I guess I really have had the outlet to do it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I feel like, again, going into a place where I can start to teach and be an example to people more is through building myself up in the community.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that, again, having a business, starting with the coffee shop, whatever that is, having employees and teaching those guys, and then growing up, okay, now we do a restaurant. Okay, now I'm teaching those people. Right. And then I think once I build that, that's when it will kind of lead into that, if that makes sense. Just being able to be more of that front facing, it could be building that business, or it could be even growing. And, what I really want to focus on is growing in Instagram, my social media.
Yeah.
And growing my lifestyle and, what I've done with private chefing, what I've done with my family, what I've done with my fitness.
Yeah.
And I think that could be an outlet for it too. So yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
I really do think it is. I think I've just had to prepare myself more, to get to a point, again, to lead people through a better way, of making sure I'm ready for that fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm prepared for it.
No, for sure. Yeah. And, I bring these things up because this was the conversation we had previously, and, kind of like what we talked about, accountability, these were like goals that you spoke about, and aspirations that you have. And so just kind of checking in and seeing where you're at on that.
Oh yeah, man, they're still there. I tell people all the time, I know I'm meant to do more. I know I'm meant to have a bigger impact, and I know I'm meant to help people in some way. And it's a process, and I don't want to rush it. I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah,
I also don't want to, not do anything, but realizing where I'm at and where I need to get to, and not forcing it. Because I've always pushed really hard for a lot of things. And I think now I've learned to slow down, just letting it happen.
Yeah.
But, again, that's not sitting back, right? That's not sitting back and doing nothing and not showing up how I need to show up and just waiting for things to happen around me. I'm still trying to make things happen, but not forcing them.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm still networking. I'm still meeting people. I'm still talking to people, posting myself, making myself vulnerable, right? Putting it out there to the world. Just to kind of make it all fall in line. And when it happens, it happens. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's why I keep saying, is it a year from now, or is it 5 years from now?
Right.
I don't know, but I'm just making sure I'm prepared for when that time comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not, again, like you said, holding yourself accountable, right? Making sure that you keep doing the things that you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I've been very fascinated since we met each other, and like kind of hearing your story and what you shared here with us, and how far you've come along in life. And I'm just excited for.
See, that's where that imposter syndrome comes in right now. I know, like when you're sitting there saying that, I could just think to myself, like, have I really done that much? Like I sit back and like, why me? Right? Like,
yeah.
How am I that guy? It's just, it's weird to hear. It's hard to hear sometimes.
Yeah.
Not hard to hear. I guess not hard to hear is the wrong way to say it, but I think you understand what I'm trying to put out there. No. It's just like, do you deserve all that?
Yeah.
Am I really that guy? But you just keep showing up and do it.
Yeah.
You got to prove it.
Yeah, no, but like, you've put in all the effort and the energy into it, man. And like I said, God honors that. And, you could see it, you could see the fruit of what you've put into it. And so, it's been a very fascinating, and just seeing, God, along the way, like holding your hand and guiding you along the way. And, because I'm reminded of the scripture, it says the steps of a righteous man are ordered by God, and it's not to say that we're righteous, but he clothes us with righteousness, the Bible says. So, I think it's a matter of the heart. He sees our hearts. We can put off this tough exterior and everything, but like, he looks straight to our hearts, and he sees the man that we truly are underneath everything else. I've always told you that I see lots of potential in you, and I appreciate the seriousness of how you approach things, especially the things of God, spiritual things, but like I tell others all the time, don't underestimate how God can use you, because He already has. I've been witness to that, and when we work out together with the F3 guys, when you lead them out there and you close out in powerful prayers, heartfelt prayers, not just generic, cheesy words. I have felt it, and that's just a small glimpse of what God can do through you. So I'm excited to see where you'll end up, the next time we talk, But speaking about that, like, what do you see in the interim future? Like, here in the next, I guess, year, or like where you? I know you talked about trying to start this business, and like what's the next goal? I guess.
Yeah, I think the biggest goal, the next goal is starting to build my legacy. That's the biggest one. Mm-hmm. It has to be something real, something we can grasp onto, right? And I think what that is, I really think I'm being shown and not forced, but it's a restaurant group.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. It's what I've always wanted it to be. I've always wanted to own a restaurant, but I know I needed to wait till the right time. A lot of these big time chefs, they don't open chef up till they're like 40, 50, 60 years old. So I still got time, right? And I don't need this big fancy Michelin starred restaurant anymore, right? Like, no, I think in the next couple months we may own a coffee shop. And that's, again, starting small, mm-hmm. right? Proving to myself that I know how to run a business, proving that I can do it with my wife, and that I can build something here in the community. And, coffee shop, something that's open from 6 to 5 or whatever it may be, come drive through, get a coffee, grab a cold sandwiches, or, do a little cold charcuterie, something very simple. Ran very minimalistically, 3-4 staff members, something my wife can handle throughout the day, right? Because she wants purpose too.
Yeah.
She wants something for us. And she's realized too, like, if anything ever happened to me, she gets insurance money, but outside of that, like, she's kind of screwed, right? So it's important. I think she's gotten on board with me. It's like important to build something for our future. So we do I think doing the coffee shop, then doing a smaller restaurant, leveraging the coffee shop to do a small restaurant, and then leveraging that to do a bigger restaurant, right? So
Yeah.
coffee shop, then something small, family, where kids can go hang out, maybe like just burgers and a couple good sandwiches,
Yeah.
you know, some salads, whatnot, and then go all out and do like a speakeasy kind of place that you're going to go take your wife to on a Friday night, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, that's here, again, local in Richmond, because we don't have it.
Yeah.
And there's a need, there's a want. I think once we get going here in the community, you know, I've proven that with the pop-ups we've done. You know, we've had a lot of success with every pop-up
Yeah.
I've done out here. We've sold out, and people are repeat customers and know what to do. When you go to open a restaurant, you know, people want it out here. Nobody's done it yet.
Yeah.
So I think that's my opportunity. You know, again, is that today, tomorrow, 5 years from now? Who knows? But that's what I'm working towards
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I have that vision. I have that set in my mind. And so, you know, I'll try to push that forward, man,
Yeah.
and see where that takes us. You know, who knows, right?
Yeah.
My old boss, Alex Smith, a guy I worked for in Baltimore when I was at Bygone, and you know, he started his restaurant group. He started with the Haagen-Dazs, right? And he grew that. When I was there, I think we had 7, 8 restaurants. Now he has over 50 something restaurants.
Oh, wow.
You know, close to $400 or $500 million company where he, you know, he's set now. Like that's it. He's one of the biggest restaurant groups in the country, and it started small, right? And it took time to build that. You know, is that where I want to get to? If it happens, it happens. Cool, but
Yeah.
you know, we'll see. Anything happen. You know,
Yeah.
something out here, man, blows up. Who knows where it can go?
Right.
And I think
Yeah.
that really is the opportunity. Embracing Joey as a chef, like instead of running away from the chef, right? Embrace it. That's my superpower.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm really, really good at. And that's, again, it's taken me some time to accept that. Like, all right, how do I use this superpower? It's almost like, how do I use this superpower to change the world? Right? How do I change my world? How do I change my family's world with what I have, the tools I have? And that's being a chef. That's being a hard worker. So, you know, building our restaurant group or whatever that looks like, and then, you know, possibly focusing on building, I don't want to say influencer because that's kind of lame, but like being somebody that people can look to that's real. Like I'm a dad. I got 4 kids. I built a business. You know, I'm working on building a business. I'm a private chef. I went through this fitness journey. I think people, you know, you need more of that authenticity, more of that like genuine masculinity, like out there in the world. I think it could have a lot of impact.
Yeah.
Because people can recognize me. And the everyday person, I think I can connect with the everyday person a lot better than a lot of other people can. Because I am the everyday person. I'm nobody special.
Yeah.
I just show up and do what I need to do.
Yeah.
So that's the long version of it, man. You know.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, man.
That's the goal. That's the dream. That's the vision.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. This past weekend, they had an outreach at the church we attend, and we took the whole family. All of us went, and basically it involved us. The church partnered with another organization to pack meals that they were going to ship off to underprivileged, less fortunate people out in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
And so, you know, one of the things that they said was like, if you could feed, you know, somebody's, you know, belly, that you can feed their soul as well. You know, so I don't think it's any coincidence that your background is that of, you know, that you said that's your superpower.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to like feed people and, you know, prepare delicious meals.
You look at a chef like Jose Andres, right? He a Michelin starred chef. He had this crazy, beautiful restaurant group, and now what he's become a world. What is it? I mean, he goes everywhere around the world. When disaster hits, Jose Andres' restaurant group is there bringing food for people. You know, whether it's hurricanes, fires, natural disasters. I mean, they're going all over the world to help and feed people. They're in Ukraine feeding people, like soup kitchens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he just started out as a chef, right? So, yeah, exactly. You feed somebody's body, you're feeding their soul.
Yeah.
You know, a warm meal can change somebody's life.
Yeah. And it opens them up, you know, to want to have those conversations, you know, deeper conversations as well. Like a lot can be discussed over a meal.
Yes. Yeah. It's all about, I mean, for me, meals and family.
Yeah.
Brings people together. Everybody's got to eat, and everybody's always going to eat. And I think that's the thing, man, like building up something so I can be able to now I'm impacting the lives of employees and people that are around me, and maybe even mentoring guys who want to be chefs and, you know, teaching them how to do things. But okay, we can do that. And now we have this business to where we can give back to the community.
Yeah.
You can help veterans, you can feed homeless, you can donate food, you know, open up a soup kitchen, whatever that may look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. You know, be able to grow, help yourself so you can help others. Right. Because
Yeah.
I can only do so much now. You know, imagine if I had this big restaurant group at my disposal, the lives you're able to impact at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I mean when I say I meant to do more. Yes, I can help the people out, and I'm trying to help people out and do the right things, but to be able to impact people on that kind of scale, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah. Well, we're excited for, to see that, come to pass, man, you know, and we're definitely rooting for you, and, you have our support, you know, I've since day one, you know, I've been in your corner rooting for you. Like I said, I've seen the potential in you, and there's no doubt that you'll get there, you know, and especially with how you're trying to be the family man that you are, and give back to others just by coming on here, you know, being generous with your time to share where all you've been, and share the experience that you have with others, you know, so that the person coming up behind you can learn from where you've been.
Yeah, what do we say in F3? It's laying the next 43, man. You lay the next 43 feet so the man behind you can follow in those footsteps.
Yeah, man.
And that's what I hope to do, is be able to lay it out there for guys like us who need it, because it's scary how many people need it, man.
Yeah.
You know, you see how crazy the world is these days, and
That's an understatement.
it's yeah, you know, it really is scary. And you have young kids, I have young kids, and imagine the world that they're going to grow up in, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's scary, and then nobody's going to do anything about it, right? So instead of talking about it, I want to be about it. I want to go out there and be able to institute change and show people what they're doing is wrong, and it's not okay to think like that. It's not okay to act a fool all the time. Like, you have to have accountability. You know, these people get out there like, I saw a video of a girl who went by, ripped some dude's shirt, kept walking, and she's like, oh, why am I getting arrested? You just assaulted him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just people don't think. You know, we were just talking about it out there. Can you imagine dating nowadays? You two are lucky over there, but you know, trying to date somebody these days online, all the crazy people out. You imagine showing up. We were talking about that, dude. There's crazy what can happen. It's
wild. Yeah.
So yeah, it's wild times, and guys like us need to stand up, need to speak up when we don't see things, you know, that we agree with, when things are going wrong. You know, you see somebody getting beat up in the street, instead of videotaping it, help them.
Yeah.
I don't care who it is, right? Nobody deserves that, right? You don't leave somebody on a train track and videotape them not being able to get up. Like, the world we live in today is so upside down.
Yeah.
And I believe it's a lot of it, you know, fathers not showing up the right way, fathers in the picture, people not being held accountable. And if I'm able to do that, damn right.
Yeah.
You know, I want my boys, again, another video of a girl getting beat up in the classroom. I told Jai, I was like, if you ever see that going on in your classroom and you don't do anything, I'm going to beat you up. You know what I mean?
That's like, what we're told when we're
exactly.
little.
You stand up for those people, right? It's just, there's a time and a place, and sometimes you got to be that man.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, that means that I have to be that man and do it and speak up. And so I'm going to do it.
The defenders of the defenseless.
Yeah. The sheep.
Yeah. Yeah. No, good stuff, man. Appreciate you coming on, man. You know, kind of giving us an update on what you've been up to since the last time, man.
It's been a lot. It's nonstop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just got to go. And
yeah, and I know the busy schedule that you have, but, you know, I do commend you for, you know, how you manage your time, man. You know, I know how demanding your job is, your bosses, and how they pull you away from your family for extended periods. You've talked about how coming up this summer, you're about to get pulled away from your family, you know, and that's tough. You know, I hear it.
Yeah.
You know, in your voice as you get yourself ready for that. But you know, the way you've navigated and managed your time, you know, I commend you for that. You know, because that could sever and tear families apart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If Katie and I weren't in a good place, how much harder would it be to leave for 4 weeks at a time, 3 weeks at a time? You know, so that's why when I'm around, I need to be super intentional with my time.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, I'm going to be away for 3-4 weeks, but then I'll come home and have 3 weeks off. So it's like, all right, those 3 weeks, it's all about them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And yeah, it is very demanding. My job is demanding and requires a lot of me. And, you know, now that
I can't even get any time with you, man.
and it's hard. It really is. But it also supports our life and allows me to have a wife that stays home. And, you know, it's taken me a little bit of time, but to realize how blessed I am and where I'm at, to be thankful for that and to lean into that and to be, again, like we were talking about earlier, to be grateful for that.
Yeah.
You know, that's been the best part with all this, to be able to be happy at where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like, damn, all right, I got it going on. 5 years ago, this is the Joey I wanted to be.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like, all right, what's another 5 years going to bring us?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, and I think it's also important to have like you know, supporters that, instead of trying to pull you away even more, that understand and, you know, are flexible with you and just sensitive to your situation. You know, I think that's the, you know, what true friends are. You know, they look out for your best interests, you know, and they don't try to make, I guess, how would I say it? Instigate or make matters worse. You know what I'm saying? So
supporting it.
Yeah, supporting you. You know, just getting behind you and helping you, like, you know, get to where you want to go. So
it takes a village, man.
Yeah,
it does. You can't do it. You can't do it alone. You can try, but it's not going to work. You know what I mean? You need support.
Yeah.
And, you know, I need Katie's support, and you know, couldn't do it alone. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I always say it to her, is like, oh, you know, I want to be where I'm at today. She goes, you'd be out doing all these crazy things and have this restaurant. But like, yeah, but like you ground me, like being grounded. You know, who knows what I'd be if I wasn't grounded.
Yeah.
From her, you know, and having a family and having good people in my circle, and you know, having good friends, close friends, people that push you, make fun of you when you don't show up to working out. You know what I mean? Like, hey, where were you this morning? Like, oh, I'm sorry, man, I'll be there. You know, and so it makes you feel bad. So you got to show up the next time. And this community is strong, man. And, you know, us coming together is only going to make it better. And we need more. We need more men out there to do it, because it's impactful.
Yeah. Yeah, God is raising up, you know, men in this hour, man. You know, and it's time for you know, everybody to rise up, man. You know, the men to rise up and answer the call, you know, for the times that we're living in. You know, we need men that are going to be able to lead their homes and their families and lead their communities.
And not lead into a life of comfort. Because that comfort, man, that's going to take you away from your true self.
Yes, sir.
Comfort is the enemy, man. It's so easy to give into it. It's just, you know, it's a slippery slope too, right? You're comfortable, you're sitting around doing nothing. You see this, you watch this, you do this, you smoke this, you drink this. Like, no, it's, yeah. Even just with some of the guys who work out, man, watching what they, like guys that would go home and have 2 or 3 beers every night and stopping doing that, like the changes that has in their life, you know, and the growth that comes from there. It's,
Yeah. Our adversary would want nothing else than for us to just sit around and waste away the opportunities and the time that we have.
And so. It is, man. There's a lot of people out there who do that and take for granted what's in front of them.
Yeah.
And just coast through it. It's easy though. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
Who likes getting and doing hard things? You got to be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm a glutton for punishment. I don't feel right. If I don't work out, like I haven't, you know, the last couple of days I've had a lot of work, but I haven't worked out the last 3 days and kind of like itching. But like, you know, Katie's like, can you please stay home tonight? Like, I want to spend time with you. You know, I feel like I haven't seen you a lot. You know, the old me would be like, no, I got to go. But now I'm like at a point where like, all right, like I need to.
Yeah.
If you want me to stay home the next couple of nights, that's fine. Like I'll do that because that's what you need from me right now.
Yeah.
Extra attention. So and you know, again, that comes back to everything we talked about. It's just stopping and listening and yielding to the situation that you're in. Instead of go. No, I got to go. Can't go. Yeah, bro, your wife's sitting here telling you she needs you. Stop for a second.
Yeah.
Put your fucking phone down. Look her in the eyes.
Yeah.
Simple things.
Yeah, but it's been a process, you know, getting there.
Dude.
And so,
Yeah, like I was sharing with the other day is like the Apostle Paul says, like when I was a child, you know, I thought like childishly, you know, I thought about childish things, but you know, when you grow up and you become more mature, you think more maturely, you know, but it's a process. So it's like whatever we can do to help the next, you know, generation of young men coming up behind us, you know, spare them from, you know, the pitfalls and making the same mistakes.
But it's hard, man, because it's like, how do you do that nowadays when it's taught everywhere? They you know, kids have such exposure to these things so easily. You know, the 6th, 7th, 8th graders, I hear about the nudie pictures being sent around school, and you know the things that they're exposed to now. It's just like, no wonder where we're at. It's how do you stop that, right? It's how do you can't really control it.
Yeah,
it's you know, it's scary because the outside influence is just everywhere. And, you know, it's hard being a parent. You're like, all right, I don't want to take away all your, you know, you don't got a phone, you don't get an iPad, you don't get to do this, you don't get to do that. Like, you can't keep your kid in a bubble.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's how do you give them, I don't know.
Yeah.
What are we struggling right now with the kid? You know, especially having a 13-year-old. Kid wants to be on his phone all the time, talk to his friends. His friends are, you know, have social media, this and that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're not about that. You know, you can't have a social media. You can't go out and, you're 7th grade. You don't need to have a girlfriend. You don't need to go on a date. What does a 7th grader need to go on a date for? To do what? Nothing good is going to come out of that, right? Like, go hang out at school, whatever it may be. Kids are having to grow up way too fast.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's why we have a big responsibility, man, you know, as fathers, as parents, to be as involved as we can through that, to help them navigate that, and not be afraid to have those conversations, those hard conversations, you know, and not cultivating that habit of internalizing it.
Yeah.
You know, like us men tend to grow up thinking that it, you know, it's supposed to be, just internalizing it, not being able to speak on it,
being open about it.
Yeah, just being more open.
That's one thing we do have is we have a very open line of communication to our 13-year-old. You know, having the sex talk, the girl talk, you know, the drug talk. Like even your kid taking a pill nowadays, dude. How scary is that? Like somebody going to give them something, they're going to have OD on fentanyl out there. It's just like, you have to have these conversations and this openness and have an open line of communication and know what your kids are doing.
Yeah.
You know, your little 7th grader could be on Xbox Live and invite some dude over to the house to pick them up.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know what they're doing. And exactly, being involved, having those conversations, knowing what they're looking at, what they're touching, what they're seeing.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard balance.
It's funny because, like my sons, they're a little bit younger. You know, Levi is getting ready to be 9 in September, and Elam, he just turned 6, and you know, they're in that phase, you know, that inquisitive phase. You know, they're asking about everything they see, everything they experience, or what they see on television. You know, and so you know, sometimes fathers or parents can be annoyed by that, but you know, I try to entertain them as much as I can, and you know, give them a proper response. You know, whatever I can explain and break down for them. You know, take the time to really break it down for them. And it's funny because Elam, like, you know, he'll be like, "Wow, Dad, you're a genius." And it's the most funny thing, man. It's hilarious, you know. But then it reminds me of my childhood. You know, I probably thought the same thing about my old man. Yeah. You know, and I do remember, like, he always had a response, a good answer for everything.
Do everything, man. How do you know all that? How do you know everything about everything?
Yeah, man. And I think it's just, you know, that, you know, just taking the time, just being present, you know, making yourself available.
You don't have to have the right answers all the time.
Yeah.
You just have a conversation and like, wow, okay, thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Come up with a little lie or whatnot.
Fake it to make it.
Exactly.
Fake it till you make it, man. You know,
just want that attention.
Yeah, that's all it is, man. You know, but letting them, you know, be comfortable approaching you.
Yes, that's a big thing.
And not, being
You don't want your kid to shut down.
Yeah, shut down, bro.
Shut down because it's scary, man. Like, because you have all this influences, bullying, and your kid shuts down, it's not talking to you. They can be getting bullied online. People tell them, kids nowadays, oh, you should just kill yourself. Like, who says that? How many kids? It happened at the school right over there. A little girl, committed suicide because the pressure and the bullying.
At the beginning of the school year, yeah.
That's why it's so important to be able to have these conversations with your kids.
Oh man, that was heavy.
We never had I don't think we really had to worry about that when we were younger.
No,
you never heard of
not on this scale,
right? Like, you never heard of kids killing themselves or bodily harm or what all this stuff that's going on, but they have access to it.
Yeah,
and it's just so important to have those conversations.
Yeah.
If you're feeling a certain way about yourself, let us know. Talk to us. If your kid's off. I know my kid's pissed off.
Being
I know
able to
he's
recognize
off.
that, yeah.
My kid is in a bad mood, not talking. I know something's wrong.
Yep.
Because the kid doesn't shut up half the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so being able to know your kids and who they are, their personalities, and that's why, again, I'm blessed to have a stay-at-home, mom for Katie, because she's really
it's a game changer, bro. And we always told ourselves, I had a lot of convincing to do with Mai because she was very independent, and I was concerned about that as we were transitioning into parenthood. I was like, oh man, she always said, like, don't expect me to be a stay-at-home mom. As soon as they get old enough, I'm going back to work.
Yeah.
And hustling or whatever. And I was like, I understood the advantages and the benefits of having a stay-at-home mom. I'm a product of that.
Yep.
And I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for that, man.
Yeah.
And but by the grace of God, thankfully, she embraced that role and she stepped, so graciously into that. And she embraced it and she loves it. She wouldn't have it any other way. And that's super important, man. And I can't emphasize that enough. Of course. There are some families that, they have no choice. Yeah. So, but I'm just grateful, and like how you say, having Katie there at the house, I mean, it's just a huge game changer. I can't even express that enough, and I'm so grateful for that because, it's kind of like the concept of that we have out there, with F3, like picking up the six, like basically watching, your guy's back.
Yeah.
And it's the same way in the household, having each other's backs. While I can't be present, you have somebody else here, watching.
Holding it down.
Yeah,
holding down the fort, man.
Yeah, man. So it's a game changer for sure,
And not taking advantage of that and realizing how hard. I always been like, oh man, it's easy. You stay at home with the kids. I wish I could do that. I don't want to go to work. You try going to work.
Bro, I was here for 4 years, trying to help out, man. And I got to see it firsthand.
The same thing day in and day out, same hustle, nonstop, just like going.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's important too for, them to have something, right? What are they, again, is that community? Is that little friend circle? Is that working out? Is that you? Are you supporting her the way she needs to be supported?
Yeah.
Right? Again, it's showing up for her too.
For sure.
Giving her what she needs. And sometimes she just wants you to shut the fuck up and listen. You know what I mean? Like, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So it is a blessing. It's, it definitely is.
Yeah.
And watching her and the way she's, grown through the last couple of years of my self growth. Right. Again, it's not only been me now that's growing, it's her. Like it took a while for her to lean into that trust and be like, is this for real? Like, is this really happening? Are you really changing and becoming this person? And she's seen it. And that's why she allows me to do the things like, go work out, do this, do that. And now it's rubbed off on her. And she's more than ever working out, being healthy, taking care of what she's put in her body.
Yeah.
Getting on board with, all right, we got to build something for the future.
Yeah.
And she wants to be a part about it. Right? She wants to be involved in it. And have a role and have a purpose for that. So that's fun, man. It's contagious.
Yeah. And that's how it should be.
Being able, like it sometimes, I struggle with that for a long time. It's like having a partner that wants the same goals, right? Our goals is really kind of aligned. Like I wanted all these things, but she was so immersed and felt so alone taking care of the family that, I wasn't supporting her.
Yeah.
The things she wanted with the love she needed. And now she has that. And now I feel like, all right, cool. Her cup is finally being filled too.
Yeah.
So she can continue to support me even more.
Yeah.
Which is It's been great. Dude,
Yeah.
we're like little kids. Like I said earlier, we're like little kids, man. We love each other so much. It's been fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's been.
That's awesome, man.
And something, you know, the conversation we're going back to where she told me how it was hard for her to hear that conversation that you and I had. You know, it was hard for me to hear from her too, like the way that she thought I felt about her, right? Like she knew that, like she felt that for the longest time. She's like, yeah, I knew I took a back seat to your career. And just hearing her say that, I was like, damn, that's how you really felt? You didn't really feel like a true, like, she's like, I knew you loved me. I knew you always loved me, but I didn't know if you really like were in love with me, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
She just never felt it, which is hard to hear, right? Because it's like, what are you talking about? I loved you this whole time, but I wasn't showing it the right ways, right? So that was definitely weird and hard and something to deal with and kind of take in and, you know, not be egotistical about it. Like, oh no, screw you. Like I did love you. Like that's your fault. I'm like, yeah, it was my fault. I wasn't loving you right. But again, that comes with age, man. Maturity, growing up, doing those things.
Yeah, for sure, man. No, if nothing else, it got the conversation started, you know, and to help improve things, to work on whatever hadn't been spoken about before.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Open line of communication that's there. Like I've opened up to her about some things that, you know, I got emotional about. You know, open up to something and tell her, you know, this makes me emotional. Like it almost makes me upset.
Yeah.
And I've never really been like that with her. And she loves that, you know, that I can open up to her now and have these conversations. And even like something as little as, hey, we went out last night to the bar, you know, I didn't really like you kind of hanging over, you know, our friend. Like, because she's a very touchy-feely person. She's always been like that. And I never had an issue with it.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I'm like possessive over her. I'm like, don't fucking touch my wife. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care who you are. Right? Like, and it's weird to have that change. You know, it's not out of jealousy.
Right, yeah.
It's just like, that's my wife. Why are you touching her? Kind of thing. Because I don't drink. I'm not, you know, I still don't drink. And I stopped that now for a long time. And so just having that conversation with her the next day, be like, hey, you know, I know I've always been cool with this, but I'm not with it anymore. And I didn't understand it. And she's the one that, you know, we talked about it for a while, and she's like, it's because you love me more. I was like, you know what? I think you're right. I really think that is. So just being able to have those hard conversations.
Learning how to express yourself.
Yeah, have feelings. Not just be a meathead all the time. You know what I mean? There's feelings in there. And again, it's process, you know, man. Yeah. Like I said earlier, you know, feeling like a phony, it's like, am I an emotional person now? Like, is it okay to be like that? Because always I was like, oh, whatever, screw it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what you think. I don't care what you feel.
Yeah.
It doesn't align with how I feel.
Yeah, no, I think that shows true toughness, you know, when we can be vulnerable like that.
Yeah, it is. And she loves it. You know, they love like being able to open up and confide in them and be like, all right, this big, hard, tough guy is mush when it comes to me. So
yeah,
that's been man, it's been fun. I'm excited to see our relationship grow and see the woman she's becoming when she's loved properly. We joke about it all the time, dude. The sex life is the best it's ever been. You know what I mean? Because she loves me more. I love her more. It's just like we're just connected.
Yeah, connected.
Exactly. Just the connection is unreal lately. It's been fun.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
but again, it takes work.
Lots of effort. Yeah,
you get comfortable.
Like you said, being intentional, and making the most of the time that you do get to be with them.
Yeah, you know
it's critical.
It's taking a Sunday, and instead of just sitting there watching TV all day, you know, we're out doing something, right? You go to the zoo, go walk around.
Yeah.
You know,
for example, like when we were trying to coordinate for you to come here, you know, you're talking about like, I know you were just kidding, and then you threw out that Katie wanted to go to the beach, and I was like, oh man, you know, but I, hey man, whatever you got to do to be with your family or to keep her happy, you know, like this could take a back seat, you know, we will have another time to do it, you know, but like I'm fully aware of that. So I know, like, you know, Sundays and Mondays are your days off, you know, and you're trying to make the most of it. So, but, you know, we made it work, you know, thank God. So, but I know that's super important.
Yes, it is. Making sure those days are focused on them and we're doing the right things. And, you know, even if it's making sure we wake up, I make sure I woke up, made breakfast for my family. Like, we didn't go to the beach today. We ended up just staying home.
Yeah.
But, you know, we had breakfast together as a family and made it. Big old spread for my kids. Love to eat, you know, and then we go to church and You know, it's a battle getting all the kids to church.
Of course.
I don't want to go. You know, they want to fight. People are yelling and screaming. And,
Yeah.
and once they get there and they leave, they're happy and in a good mood. And,
Yeah.
you know, you have, you know, brunch or whatever it is and spend that time as a family. And
Yeah.
it's just those little things, man.
Yeah.
Getting them out, hanging out, listening to them talk. You know, just listening to the kids talk at lunch today, right? Kennedy was asking us, you know, would you rather be extremely rich, have all the money in the world, or have unlimited lives? And Gabriel's like, well, I'd rather have all the money in the world because when I die, I'm going to go see Jesus. I was like, all right. He's like, if I'm alive all the time, I'm never going to go die and see Jesus.
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay. Like that, just to hear your 7-year-old say that,
Yeah.
you know, it's powerful.
Yeah.
You know, so it was fun. Just the conversations that came
Yeah.
up, man.
Yeah.
But again, it's just having that time.
Yep.
Time, it's super important for them.
Yeah. It's you know, since I started going back to work just over a year ago, shortly, a little over a year ago, from being off like nearly 4 years, it's been a transition and an adjustment, you know, with my time management, because I have to be in the office at 5:30 in the morning. So, you know, I'm like up at 4 and, you know, it makes for very long days. And I have to come home and take one for the team, you know, because mine's been dealing with them drop off and pick up from school and, you know, with the baby, you know, 18-month-old baby. And so, you know, I'm hurrying in to get home and to take them to Taekwondo, you know, after school activities, you know, whatever it is, you know, just trying to do my part, you know,
man.
Yes. You know, to let her catch a break, you know, get her second wind, you know, for the evening time.
Dinner in the bedtime.
Yeah.
Calls.
Yeah, man. But it's a struggle, man, you know, trying to manage your time, you know, and be present and be available to your family.
Yeah.
So
I think that, again, that's where, you know, training your mind, your body to lean into those things.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're going to be tired as a dad. You're going to be hungry. You know, you're going to be worrying about things. And if you're not prepared to handle that, it's just going to take its toll. It's just going to slowly beat you down and take everything from you. Yeah. And
that's why, like, kind of going back, self-care is important too, man. You know, preserving your health and you know,
having
exercising.
Hobby.
Yeah, just
doing something, you know, that's active. Whether it's you go out play soccer, go play basketball, go out and go hiking, biking, whatever it may be. But
yeah, you know, going back to Ecclesiastes, the meaning of life. You know, in chapter 3, it talks about, you know, there's a time and a place for everything. You know, and that's something that, like, we try to model, like, in our lives, in our household. You know, we don't strive for perfection, you know, because none of us are going to be perfect, you know.
Far from it.
You know, and so, but we try to, like, be a model of consistency for others to see, you know, that we're always going to try to make that effort to show up.
Yeah.
You know, for, like, you know, the Lord, for each other, for our loved ones, you know, our community. Just trying to be that, you know, just showing up, you know, and putting our best foot forward, you know. Yeah, man, it's you know, just trying to manage that time and being there and just carving out time, you know, and for the right things, you know, prioritizing. It's a struggle, man, but, you know, like his word says it, man, there's a time and a place for everything. Time to cry, time to be happy, time for war, a time for peace, you know, and it's up to us to determine, you know, how we carve out that time, you know, and make the most of it.
Yeah, be intentional with it. Time is everything, man.
It's our most valuable commodity, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's not wealth, it's not material things, you know. Like the scripture says, what does a man gain if he gains the whole world but loses his soul? You know, it's like, you know,
top of the mountain by yourself, right? Yeah. You run out of time. What are you gonna when you're dying? You're gonna be, hey, I wish I would have made, you know, another $1 million. I wish I would have spent more time with my kids.
Yeah, that's what they always say, right? Yeah. When they're on their deathbed, you know, and it's like
so easy to take it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
And time goes by so fast.
So fast, man.
Right? You got an 18-month-old. I mean, Cruz, I think 15 months, 16 months.
He's right behind.
He's right there, you know. So it's like that time's gone by so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I am so blessed to be there. That kid has brought so much love and joy into our life, man. Like being seasoned parents and having another baby and just the laughter, the love, like it's so contagious.
Yeah.
It's like we joke like, oh, we love this one so much more. Well, we're just so much more mature.
Yeah.
You know to appreciate that. I know now, like I never appreciated them as kids.
Yeah.
And I will regret that forever. Not getting to spend the time that I've spent with crew with the other three.
Yeah.
Just our relationship, our bond that we have, walking in the door after a 12, 13 hour day and he just screaming, Dada, runs up, buries his face in me. Like, dude, there's no better feeling. Like walking up to the crawfish boil last night. He's in his little playpen. He sees me across the street screaming, Daddy. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, there's no better feeling.
It's priceless, man. It's priceless.
And being able to enjoy that, it's fun.
Yeah.
And watching my kids, man, enjoy it too. Watching Jai be a big brother. There's a 13-year gap between them.
Yeah.
And Kennedy and the love he has for them. And it's, I almost want another one. But 5 kids? That's a lot of kids, bro.
Bow, chicka, wow, wow.
Man, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do another one. I want one. I don't know.
Man, it's work though. But it's the most rewarding job, but you be ready, to put in the work. So, but there's nothing like it, we were just telling Melanie that it's, being a parent, man, I think it's something that everybody should be able to experience. It's there's nothing like it. It brings out a whole other side of you another potential that you didn't even know existed within you. So it's nothing like it.
It's pretty crazy now too. A lot of my friends, I had kids. I'm done having kids very early. A lot of my friends are just now getting married and just now starting to get pregnant.
Yeah.
People that I grew up with, 35, 36 years old, having their first kids. And it's just like try to tell them, take advantage of it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure I'm like, I tell a lot of them, I'm happy you waited, maybe I would have waited, right? Maybe I should have waited, but who knows, right? Whatever. I can't talk about what is, but being prepared for it properly makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does.
Being financially stable,
for sure,
not having to move around for a career. Yeah, it does change you. Yeah, little kids, man, they're expensive. Especially nowadays, bro. We're going to Costco and dropping
oh my
like
goodness,
$900.
Don't even go there.
Like a week.
It's
a week
crazy.
goes by and these kids literally eating everything.
Yeah,
they're savages, man. They eat so much.
Yeah,
it's they grow like weeds. Sports, the growth, the everything. It's just,
man, yeah.
People, it's insane, but it's funny. It's a trip.
As I tell the boys all the time, when we went out to Moody Gardens for spring break, the moment they start complaining, I'd start telling them the story. I'd be like, when Dad was little, like I didn't get to do things like this, so I kept, they kept hearing me repeat that over. And then by the end of the trip, like, and I'd go into that same story. They'd be like, we know, Dada, we know.
You didn't get to do it. I understand.
It was hilarious, man. So, but yeah, good times, man. Priceless moments, man. So I wouldn't change it for the world.
No.
So.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't give it up. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it is to see where you are with your first one, to see where you are now with the kids. The first one you kind of grew up with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now to see this one and be in that position, it's a lot of fun, man. I wouldn't honestly change it for the world.
Yeah. No, man, we're glad to see catch an update, from you and see where you've come from the last time, man, and we're happy for you. We commend you on
Hopefully
the strides.
it continues to go, man.
It continues to trend.
Stop.
You're trending in the right direction, bro.
Hope so.
And if you keep trying to put God first in your life, man, and please Him, He's going to honor everything that you put your hands to, that you try to do in life. So just keep it up, man. And, we're here for you and we're excited for you and we celebrate you,
Thanks,
what you've done and accomplished. And, we can't wait to hear the next update, down the line.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about where you could be in a year from now.
Oh,
What can happen in a year?
Anything can happen.
It's a lot. There's a lot can happen.
I remember Kevin Garnett when he played towards the end of his career with the Boston Celtics, and they won the championship against my beloved Lakers. He was yelling out, "Anything is possible." That was his thing. You remember that, Doug? And he would like, "Anything is possible," and it's so true, man. If we allow the Lord to guide us and step through the doors that He opens, and man, anything is possible.
Like you said earlier, lean into it.
Lean into it, man. The good and the bad.
Yeah.
So just embrace it all, man. However it comes at you. So
You never know what's going to come from it.
yeah. So yeah, man.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for having me.
For sure, man. You got any parting words? Anything you want to share? Any plugs you want to make before we sign off?
No, man, just pay attention to what we got going on, right? Follow my social media. Hopefully here to have a relaunch on my Instagram.
Okay.
To kind of share more of this journey, be more vocal about it.
Yeah.
That's again, like we were talking about, this one area I want to improve on. I think that's how I get that reach that I want.
Yeah.
Just improving on that. And hopefully it grows. And if we open up something, come support.
All right, man. I'll be, make a reservation for the Perez family.
Yeah, at the coffee bar.
Yeah, you got to hold a table for us.
I got your Vietnamese coffee for you, bro.
All right.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Well, thank you guys for checking us out. And thanks to Joey once again for coming through and always having good conversation with him. And it's always a pleasure. And we hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Just stay tuned for more content. We hope to line up some more good interviews and good talks for you guys. And if you like the conversations that we have here, and you're not comfortable in a church setting, we gather here. We've been gathering once a month, and we just have just good, honest conversations, and experience God's presence in a powerful way. And we welcome you here. If you have nowhere else to go, you have a place here with us. So we just want to remind you of that. Reach out to us for more details on that. And, we appreciate all the support and for you checking us out. So until next time, we're signing off. God bless.